Hey guys, this is Gunderson with Apex Predator Driver Development and Karter.com. Today we're going to talk about mounting and setting the beads on your Kart tire. So a couple things that I just wanted to go over here really quick before we get into that. This one's already mounted and set. Is a lot of full-size Kart tires, not always the cadet or kid Kart tires, have what are known as bead locks. So this set that we're going to be mounting and setting today doesn't happen to have them, but I figured it was important to show you guys a set that does have them. So in this front rim, we've got kind of a knurled option, which you can tighten by hand. And then in this other tire, we've got some other bead lock variants that is a 3mm kind of cap head screw or bolt, and you can see right underneath it there's a little rubber O-ring. Those rubber O-rings, if you over tighten them or over time, they can oxidize and get some cracks. That can be an area where you can get some leaks. So I just wanted to show those before I go ahead and mount and set some. Having a little Allen like this for those is a really good option. So what you're going to need, obviously, to mount and finally set the beads on any tire, obviously, is some compressed air. You can inflate tires with a Kart pump tire, but the reality is to set beads, you probably need something with a higher flow rate, like a proper either case of nitrogen or some proper compressed air. A lot of front-running racers use nitrogen. It's a little more stable than air, meaning that once it reaches a peak operating temperature, it won't exceed that and won't kind of heat flash as fast as air will. But for many recreational racers, air is fine. And certainly to set the beads on your tire, it's fine as well. So here, as you can see, we have the tire mounted. This one was mounted by IMI and put on here with one of their mounting machines. And we'll go over another video of how to mount tires either by hand or using one of those automated machines later. But once you're to this stage, two things. One, you want to inspect around the rim of the tire and then around kind of the inside of the rim, and before you go to inflate it, you want to kind of just work the tire and try to have that gap relatively even. You can see right now I don't really have it very even, so I'll just keep working it until I'm kind of situated in a relatively where that gap's the same. And the reason you want to do that is as this inflates, if one side is a lot higher and closer to the rim than the other, often part of the bead won't set. So I'll do that on the back side as well. And again, I'm kind of pressing down and then I'm almost rolling side to side to kind of move that bead around the rim to really get it to set. It's not uncommon when you first start, especially, or when you have, say, some rims with scars on them, things like that, where this is a more common problem than you may see in most mounting videos. Now, I've got some simple green here. This is going to be kind of my lubrication between the face of the bead and sliding up that rim as we build some pressure. Most often I'm going to recommend Windex. The reason you don't really want to use simple green, it's all I have available right now, is it's a cleaning product and it can be considered kind of soaking or setting the tire. But since these are just going to be used for practice, it's okay. Windex or soapy water is probably the best thing to use. So I'll just spray around the bead and just kind of work it in with my hands. Do the same thing on the other side. You can see we've got some from the mounting process already in there. And then what I always recommend is setting the tire down. Make sure your hands are clear of the beads, right? You don't want your thumb in between there, because we're going to probably put either 20 to 30 pounds of air in this tire before that bead sets. And when that goes, if your thumb's right there or your finger's right there, that's going to be pretty painful. But I recommend setting it with the valve stem down, at least to start. Then we're going to take this, the air chuck, press it down. We're going to start building our pressure. We're going to hear some pops. So that one popped on with very little drama. You can see we've got that same situation where we've got part of the bead set on this side and part of that. So we're just going to show that towards the camera. We're going to add a little bit of air and see if it pops. If it doesn't, we may have to back off and try this again. Yep. So you see how fast that lubrication really helps. So now we've got both beads set. I didn't add a lot of air to this one, but a good general practice is you want to take a valve stem core tool, or if you have bead locks, pull one of the bead locks out. Alrighty, so now we've got some air in our tire, we've got it mounted. I'm going to take my valve stem core tool I'm going to pull my valve stem out to help bleed off all that extra air. Make sure to hold your hand over that valve stem when it pulls out. All the air is going to rush out. Now we can take it back in and go ahead and tighten it back up. Get it a little bit tighter than hand tight. You don't really want to over crank it because you can hurt the beads. Then fill it, to kind of a normal pressure. I would always recommend filling it a little higher than where you're going to run it, say in practice or on race day. So in this case, we'll just set it to, say 20 pounds. We'll leave it there. And as you're filling the rest of the tires, you can leave that one there and then go back and check it. Obviously, if it's bled down, noticeably, say more than half a pound, that probably means you have a leak and you need to check, either make sure that your bead's thoroughly set, maybe one of your valve stems or bead locks has a leak, something like that. Some soapy water or just even a bottle of water around that area, looking for air bubbles can really help you. So this is Gunderson with the Colorado Karter and Apex Predator Driver Development. Thanks for tuning in.